I'm gonna bring in Jason into the stream here.
Hey guys,
what's going on, Jason? My man.
First things first. I saw you on We Are Tottenham TV. I'm glad that you put this together for us US folks out here, top Spurs fans, that we can go ahead and rant. Trust me, what a dismal performance. And let's be honest, it's been a pretty dismal performance most of the season, if we're going to be honest. I mean,
yeah.
Today was just like I think like the pinnacle of terribleness that we've seen all season. I mean, we've seen it, and if you've been watching this team, we saw it happen with Poch. You know, the last year or even the Champions League year, we were definitely not doing enough to you know, we could see that something that we were going down. I think us making the
cracks already.
Final, yeah, with us making the Champions League final, it really did paper over the cracks. I mean, I think we would all agree that Pochettino's biggest mistake was probably starting Kane in that Champions League final. He just didn't have the legs. He wasn't ready for that game, and it carried over into the next season. I don't know if the players felt some kind of way about him starting Kane, but it was obvious that the players were not playing for him. Okay, especially you could see the likes of Dele Alli. Some of the players just weren't playing for him. But the fatal mistake I felt was the club firing Pochettino and bringing in Jose Mourinho. I mean, just anybody that's watched now, just to give you a little backstory, I was born in London. I was born in North London, in Tottenham. Okay, and I moved over to the States when I was a teenager. So I've always watched Spurs. I've always been a Spurs fan. And just, you know, so I've been through those times in the 80s and 90s. And, you know, we've always been that yo-yo club or a cup team or whatever. But for us to consistently make the top four, you know, it made no sense for us to fire Pochettino. It really didn't. When you look at like 2.5 transfer windows, we didn't spend. We didn't want to spend any money. I mean, not to just talk about transfers, but let's look at Manchester United. We were in the running for Bruno Fernandes, but did he want to split that money for Bruno Fernandes? No.
And it was
I mean, it was like 5 million, right?
Yeah,
it was
so 5 or 10 million. I mean,
5 or 10 million to get Bruno Fernandes, and we didn't. It's the same thing with Jack Grealish. You know, if we're being honest, it was like
for less than $15 million.
Yeah, that they didn't want to splash out to get these players, and then you see these players in these teams, you know, especially Bruno Fernandes with Manchester United, and you're like, and every time I see Bruno Fernandes do well in Manchester United, I keep thinking to myself, what is it, 5 million? We couldn't spend £5 million. Put the extra. It was nobody else was going after Bruno Fernandes when we were going after him. Remember that nobody else was trying to sign him, really.
I mean, from what I heard, it was pretty much like it was like done. It was like
it was done. It was just like we want an extra 5 or 7 million, and you can have him. And it was like, no, we're not going to do it. Same thing with Grealish. You know, it was just. So if you didn't want to give Pochettino the tools to see if we could push, you know, take this team over the edge, you know what I'm saying? We're going to just bring in Jose Mourinho. The money that we spent on Jose Mourinho, we could have used that money to go ahead and get a Bruno Fernandes or a Jack Grealish. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's known we needed the center back. We needed center backs. You know what I'm saying? We didn't nobody up to this day, and maybe one of these days the truth will come out why we ended up getting rid of Kieran Trippier. You know what I'm saying? You know, how do you lose? You lose Kyle Walker 1 year, and then 2 years later, his replacement, who's actually playing, you get rid of him under some really auspicious circumstances that nobody wants to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And so you have Aurier, and then you bring in Doherty. We never really replaced, and then the whole Danny Rose debacle. Nobody wants to talk about that. There's something beyond Jose Mourinho that is at the core of this team that is really disgusting right now. And I think it's permeating throughout the locker room. And we're seeing it now, like, because how do you lose players like Dele Alli? You know what I'm saying? You're losing players like Dele Alli. Rose has been ostracized. You know, we've got players all, and you don't think that these players that have been at the club for years, and they look at this like, this is how you treat this player, and this is how you treat that player. Please, anybody explain to me why we got rid of Kieran Trippier?
I mean, I think he wanted to leave the club, right? I mean, that was part of it.
Not really, and it wasn't that he wanted to leave the club. It was one of those, we're going to move you on. That's what he was told, that we're just going to move him on. That's what he was told.
His last season though wasn't that great. Now, granted, nobody was that great.
Nobody was that great, but okay. Eric Dyer, Mourinho wanted Dyer. Now, watching Spurs for years, what made you think that Eric Dyer was the bee's knees with our team?
Dyer was going to win.
I mean, 17, 18, I didn't think Dyer was horrible playing in the defensive midfield role. I mean, he was playing in front of Yin and Toby, so I mean, that's a little bit of a different, deal, but
it's just been coming, and I think it's what's happened is that everything has come to a head. I don't know what success is for this team for the rest of the season.
So tell me, what would you, if you were the guy in charge, what would you do to fix it? Lay us out Jason's plan.
I don't know what this team. We all know that this team needs 2 center backs and probably a right back, and we never replaced Moussa Dembele. If we're going to be on, like, you could literally pinpoint when this team started to go down. It was when we sold Moussa Dembele. Like, we just never, because he was, seriously, like I mean, he wasn't, like, people want to look at numbers and say, well, he didn't score goals, but the fact of the matter is, he was a midfield general who could hold on to the ball, who could pick a pass, you know what I'm saying, and would get back defensively and protect that back four. Okay. And once we got rid of him, it looked like there was something going on as well, where he had that presence in the locker room as well. You know what I'm saying? I guess Højbjerg is trying to replicate that, but I don't think Højbjerg has the technical ability. Yeah, he doesn't have the technical ability like Moussa Dembele, and we've never replaced this. The team never replaced them. There's just players that we've gotten rid of that we've never replaced. That may not at some, if you would look at a statistical sheet, you would say, you know what I'm saying? It may not show up statistically, but there was something tangible about those players within the locker room that held the team together, and we just don't have it. I mean, I love Dele Alli, but he's not a midfield general. Let's just be honest. He's not a leader of men. You can. He's
a flair player. He's a flair player.
Yeah, he's a flair player. He's not a leader. Okay, it's obvious. He's not a leader. Who's our leader in the midfield?
I think with players like Dele Alli, they need a manager who allows them to, have freedom to be themselves, right? To play their own game, to work their own game. And I think Poch kind of gave him that. And Jose Mourinho is definitely not that kind of manager, right? He expects you to play a specific way and do a specific task or duty. Some players are just free spirits, and some players can play in a system really, really well. Like, I think the reason why Lamela looks like a slightly different player this season is because he, he's one of those players that plays in a system really well, and when he's left to his own devices, tends to get himself in a bit of trouble, I think.
I mean, to rebuild the squad, it's, we don't want to say it, but to even have the funds to rebuild this squad, we're gonna have to. We would have to sell a player, just like Liverpool did with Coutinho, to generate those funds. So it's which one? It's there's only 2 players that's going to garner that kind of money to rebuild a squad, and it's either going to be Kane or Son. So which one are you gonna? Here's
the $1 million question. Which one do you think is,
which one is? Which one? Okay, so in this climate, even if I don't think anybody's going to come, if you were to ask me, if I was a team that sat there with 150 million pounds or euros to spend on a striker, and your choices are Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, who would you take? And be honest, who would you take?
I would take Haaland.
Exactly. So I know Daniel Levy slaps 150 million. I know Daniel Levy slaps 150 million pound price tag on Harry Kane, but anybody in their right mind is going to sit there and say, well, if I'm going to spend 150 million, I'm going to go after the younger guy who doesn't have a history of fragile ankles. You know what I'm saying?
Fair play, though, is that there are quite a few teams out here right now that are really looking for a good, number 9, right? You've got Manchester United need a striker. Man City needs a striker. PSG is probably going to need a striker because I don't think Poch is going to put up with starts with a 9. What's his name? It's slipping my mind.
Icardi. Yeah. Icardi.
I don't think he's going to put up his attitude for very long. Poch doesn't like those types of players, right? He likes people who are very unselfish, and he demands people to be a part of the team, not an individual superstar. I think
full effort.
Yeah, I think that you have Juventus is probably going to need a new striker. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that.
The question is will they
pay that price tag?
Yeah.
Will they pay the price tag?
Will they pay that price tag? I do believe it'll be a domino effect. Like if Haaland goes somewhere, then of course Kane will be up in the pecking order. Of course you come in, but if you're but who's the more realistic person to sell and gain a lot of money? And that you could probably get multiple teams that will come after him that you could sell, which is Son. Son's the one that you're going to sell, in all honesty. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if the stadium is packed with fans and we weren't under this COVID economic situation, yeah, you could slap 150 million on Kane and you'd get it easily. You know what I'm saying? But now everybody's in this situation where the finances ain't right. You can say, well, we're not going to do 150 million, but if you slap an $80 million price tag on Heung-min Son, then you're going to get some. You're going to get some. Yeah, you're going to get some suitors. And then the question is what did they do? Now we've already, with the history of the team, we've already shown we do not know what to do when we have all that money anyway. Okay, because we got a shit ton of money when we sold Gareth Bale the first time, and the only player that's still on the squad is Eric Lamela. But let's go down the line of the list of the players that we did have. Roberto Soldado, who couldn't hit the side of a barn with the ball. You know what I'm saying? Paulinho. Who else was there? There was just a shit ton of players that didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? We really didn't do anything. They really screwed the pooch when it came to reinvest in that money. So how do you even trust that Daniel Levy and the board to even take that money from a player that we sell and put it in, and invest it in players?
I don't.
You have no faith in it. It's easy for us. It's easiest for us as fans to say, "Oh, let's sell Kane, let's sell Son and do a rebuild." But let's be honest, none of us sitting here right now trust that board to do a proper rebuild.
No.
If we had a proper sporting director, if we had a proper system, I would feel a little more at ease about it, right? I mean, because there are some strikers out there that you could get for cheap that could really, like Ivan Toney. I'm a huge fan of his. I think that he plays similar to Kane.
I heard Spurs were looking at Hoppy over there in Schalke.
I haven't heard much.
I read that. I read that there's some interest in him. He's a young U.S. international. So, I saw that there was some interest in him. There was some inquiries about him. And Schalke's going down, so pretty much they might look to sell. They're getting relegated. They're going to get relegated this year.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't trust them to do anything because if we sell Saint or
that
Saint,
board, like,
who else does Saint? Who else says Saint a lot? I forgot. There's one guy on a channel who says Saint a lot. If we sell Kane or Son, and if we were to get a huge chunk of money, it's going to end up being a deja of the Gareth Bale stuff. And we're going to get 5 or 6 players who are garbage and won't be here in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
immediate needs center back.
And that's what kind of angers you about the whole debacle, because one of my things is if you're not gonna if you're not going to be investing in your youth and then also investing in your scouting position, like the people who are scouting for the club, in general, that also extends also to buying a player. You know what I mean? Like you need an actual scouting office that is going to get you some players that are of a quality and caliber that can play at the Prem.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly correct. I'm okay. We need a center back. You sell Son, and say you get 80 million for Son. What center back are you? Which center back are you signing? Because it seems like everybody, all the top teams need a center back. Some top team needs a center back besides Liverpool and Manchester City. And you know, I do believe that Manchester United believe that they need another center back. You know what I'm saying?
And we lost out on Diaz for less than 45 million pounds.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when it comes, when teams say this is the price, and we have the money, Daniel Levy's like, nah, you want 45, 30. And they're like,
30,
no,
35. How about 40?
No. He doesn't even go to 40. They say 45, and Levy's like, no, I'm going to say 30. No, actually, Levy comes out and says, I'll give you 28. Okay, I'll give you 28. And they're like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like 45, and he's like, all right, I'll give you 31. No, 45. Okay, he doesn't even say 40. He's just like, 33, 33.5.
And Dave, you know, and then David's right here. David's right here. Like, it just feels, look, we don't buy the right players. We have players that have been on this squad since before Joe even came in, right? We've been complaining about the same 6 players, same 7. It kind of fluctuates, you know, it depends on the day. But we have a bag of players that can't be on that pitch, man.
No, you can't. You know, Winks, unfortunately, Winks has got to go. You know, Sissoko's, well, he's too long in the tooth. Like, you can literally go down the list of players. Like, okay, so I told you Moussa Dembele was a player that we didn't replace. I'll give you another player that we didn't replace. What's his name? Wanyama. Victor Wanyama was another player. Okay, never replaced him. You know, so we've had players, and as they've left the squad, there's been no replacement. Like, literally no replacement. Nobody, no one. And then the youth players that we have, we're not giving them a chance. You know, we're not giving them a chance. Poch actually saw something in Oliver Skip. Let's be honest. Poch played Oliver Skip before he got the sack. He played Skip. Okay, Jose Mourinho was like, I'm gonna go ahead and move you on. Let's send you out on loan.
Yeah, I think it was because he had to. Because I think he kind of realized that Winks and Sissoko as a pairing just wasn't a good idea. And really look at the players who are playing now, who we're calling people that were in our first team that are pre-Mourinho. All of those people had a hard time even getting into the starting 11 under Pochettino. Davies rarely started under Pochettino. Dyer rarely started under Pochettino. Winks rarely started under Pochettino until Wanyama's knees went out and we sold Dembele, right? So, Sissoko rarely played under Pochettino. Lamela rarely started under Pochettino. Mora rarely even started under Pochettino. I mean, his first 6 months that he was at the club when we bought him in the winter transfer window, he hardly played at all, right?
He wasn't ready.